Hey guys, thank you for tuning in again for another exciting episode of Yoml. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. And today we're on Reflection 275, a brand new book, but it's a two-part reflection. And today is part one or two. Chris, what you got for
Yeah,
us today?
yeah. This book was inspired by you, True. You're probably half this reflection. So, the book's called the Complete Guide to Fasting: Heal Your Body Through Intermittent, All Day, Alternate Day, and Extended Fasting by Dr. Jason Fung and Jimmy Moore. And this is part one of two. So, have you ever heard of the book called The Obesity Code?
Yep, yep.
This is the author that wrote The Obesity Code, Jason Fung.
Mhm.
So I actually haven't read that one, but I've heard that's like a pretty famous book, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
This book's all about fasting. It's all about the importance or the why we fast, why we don't fast. I mean, it was actually really fascinating. So my reflection title for this
no
one
pun
is
intended.
yeah,
Fascinating.
yeah, right. Uh, my reflection title for this one was Feast and Fast. You can't find balance without both ends of the spectrum. So one of the things that I learned the most in this book, here, let me take it back. This is a reminder of don't do it alone, right?
Mhm.
So like to truly, have a balanced, purpose-driven life, like we've talked about a million times, right at the heart of purpose is meaningful work and meaningful relationships. Really sucks if you don't have anybody to share it with at the end of the day, kind of thing. Obviously, I have Amelia, I have my wife, I have friends and family, but you and I, we meet every night. Like, you're a part of that
Yeah,
equation. You're a big
yeah.
part of that equation. But a lot of this wouldn't be possible without you, right? Like, I mean, Amelia and I love what we do every day, but
Yeah, they're
without us.
different core
Yeah,
values, right? They're
yeah,
different core
yeah.
values with
Mhm.
different meaningful relationships. So, um, for each of those, you need the components of the core values, the meaningful work, and then the relationship. Because
Yeah,
without the ability to share the ideas, you're missing half of it,
you're missing half of it. It's a big,
and
big,
and
big chunk,
it's not whole.
Yeah,
So the
right.
point is, like, when it's not whole, it's not whole.
Exactly. So, with that in mind, obviously, you can't really. I don't think you can truly have a meaningful relationship if it's a one-sided exchange. Like I have to, every once in a while, you have to be a little interested in humoring me around tennis. I got to humor you around, stuff like fasting and other things that you do and whatever. So and the point is to get to know when you care about somebody and when you care about what they, a meaningful relationship, you learn what they care about and then figure out how you can, learn what they're doing
Mhm.
and connect on that even more. Right.
Right.
So, you never told me to fast or anything like that, but you've been doing this stuff yourself for how long now? Like, probably a couple of years. I mean, or a
Yeah,
year and a
about
half,
2 years. 2 years now. I
2 years.
mean, yeah.
So you've subtly mentioned it in conversations multiple times where it's been a powerful thing for you, very powerful thing for you, and I heard you. I've heard you multiple times, and this journey is all about learning. It's a year of magical learning, so it's something that you clearly we're passionate about. It's like your Why We Sleep book or whatever, like, I mean, that's probably the most quoted book that I ever hear you talk about all the time, and caffeine, right? So
Yeah.
so we have that, we have, other stuff like, obviously I went on a no caffeine trial myself just to see how it's going. I just did that last month and I'm still back on my no caffeine, I haven't broke it yet. So that's not true. I've had a couple cups of coffee in the past month, but like maybe three, I don't know, something like that, over that's so doing okay. But anyway, so I digress. The With you, just mentioning these things, it got me curious. Like, I wanted to learn more, right? So I mentioned to you, this is back in October of last year, if you remember right, and uh, you'd mentioned something again and intrigued me, and you've never like pushed me to like fast or to like go explore this or anything like that. You just talked about your own experience and you've mentioned it multiple times, and I was like, okay, fine, you know what, I'll check it out. So, but me being me, like, I was like, I got to learn first and I got to make sure that I understand what the hell is going on. Like, I'm not just gonna like dive into this and try to figure it out. If I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna try to do it right. So I looked for a book, and I looked to learn about it. So what I learned was really really interesting. The operating system of the universe is in my opinion harmony and balance, and
Hmm.
because of that, my mission is to try to figure out a way to harmonize my own life and to find balance and align myself with like the laws of nature and the laws of the universe. And once again, after reading this book, I found out that I was really misaligned. Shocker, right? Like there's just, it just never ceases to fail how many times where you're like, shit, you think you know what you're doing, and then you're like, fuck, I don't know anything. The funny thing about my life personally is like I work out every day. Today I've ran let's see here, did a good workout in the morning. Then I went on a decent run. Looks like today I've ran almost like 5 miles or something like that. Like I've played tennis in the middle of the day today because I'm doing my monthly challenge this month of 30 days of tennis if I can. I'm working on very specific skills. Like I took Luca to the park. I mean, I'm an active person is what I'm getting at. Like I every day this is a part of my life. So I'm not in a theory I should be pretty healthy, I would think, but I could almost guarantee you after reading this book, if I took if you did a CBC on me or something like that, and you looked at my A1C levels or something along those lines, I could probably almost guarantee you that I would be pre-diabetic, or pretty damn close to it, if not, and that's because like I never stop fucking eating ever, like from sun up to sundown. The moment I wake up, within 20 minutes, I've eaten like a meal bar or something along those lines, and gotten sugar in my body because I'm gonna go work out in like an hour after that, after I get done writing or something like that in the morning.
Hmm.
And most of the time, I would probably eat until I'm drinking a glass of wine, like right now, because I told you this is a long week, so I'm like sugar in that, whatever. Until I go to bed, I'm usually consuming some form of sugar or something along those lines. I'm not saying like this is like I'm like, oh, like grotesquely eating or something along those lines, like a glass of wine and and putting a little sugar in your chamomile tea isn't like I'm a fucking glutton or something along those lines. But the point is I never stop eating, and I never stop consuming sugar, and I've noticed the effects on my body when I do it, and I didn't never notice it really until this. But that was the big aha that I had, of like I never give my body time to process anything. Like I consume food all day long in some form, and I never give my body time to rest, feast and then fast, right? So that was a huge reminder for myself that I'm not eating. It's not just what you eat, it's when you eat, that matters as well, right? Like you can eat
Hmm.
the best diet ever, the most well-rounded balanced diet. Like I eat gluten-free, I eat dairy-free most of the time. That's not totally true anymore. I eat a lot of cheese these days, just because I reintroduced cheese in my life, but I don't eat milk at all. Like no milk, or I eat cheese. Like I know that's still milk, but it's like it's broken down by bacteria milk, so it's a little different. But anyway, like I'm very cautious about what I eat, what I put in my body. Like I eat pretty healthy throughout the course of the day. But that didn't change the fact that I still never gave my body time to rest at all. So like I was totally unbalanced. So that was what I did. After I read this book, I did my monthly challenge for fasting for October, and it was really fucking hard. I struggled a lot. Like, and I've done it actually another monthly challenge of this. Again, it was in whatever the month of Ramadan was, like April, I think, or something like that, or March. I tried it again, and I did a lot
Hmm.
better that time. But bottom line is, it's I learned how imbalanced my eating patterns were. I never stopped. Like it was always on, like I never get my body any time to relax. So that's my biggest lesson I learned is, like I said at the top up here, feast and fast. Like you can't have balance without both. I gotta balance out my eating with my rest from eating. Like you can't just eat all day long and then stop. It's like to live a balanced existence, you gotta have both ends of the spectrum, right? So that's what I learned in this book, and that was because you spurred me on to go do it, and I listened to you and read the book, and here I am. I'm learning more about my diet. So I try my best these days to not eat you know, after a certain time. I'm not like strict. I'm not like doing like intermittent fasting or whatever all the time, but at least I'm conscientious of it at this point in time. Like it's not just oblivious to me now, and that's good. That's a step, you know. So anyway,
Mhm.
love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think, I guess the theme throughout this year of magical learning is balance. And balance is something that we have to have. It's a core tenet of everything we do.
Mhm.
So we say, hey, we love to eat the cake and not eat the frogs. But you can't really eat the cake constantly. You have to stop and drink a sip of water, take a
Right.
break, and do
Or just
something.
don't eat. Yeah. Or just don't eat. You
Right.
know.
And then same thing for you is, let's say you love to play tennis, but you have to let your body rest so that you can be optimal at
Right.
play tennis. If you continue to play tennis, your performance degrades. It deteriorates because it didn't allow for the
Your body
recovery.
hurts.
Exactly. So you think about your eating habits, right? You think about it. Just imagine you are performing an action like playing tennis constantly.
Right.
I mean, constantly for how many years? Like 39 years, right? 38, 39 years.
Well, I mean, I haven't been playing since I was born, but you know, let's say I started when I was 5. Let's
No,
say
I'm not
when I was.
talking. I'm talking about from the digestive perspective.
Oh, right, right.
You're
Yeah. Yes.
constantly
Yes.
you're constantly eating, meaning
Right.
equates to constantly playing tennis without even taking a day off.
Right.
That's what you're doing. Not even like a minute off. Because the thing is, even if you eat throughout the day, it takes you a few hours to finish digesting all the
Right.
food. So even if you eat, say, hey, I'm eat every 2-3 hours, right? You haven't finished
Right.
digesting all the food you have in this one sitting. So in the perspective of your body has been working constantly every single second for the past 38, 39 years.
Constantly processing
Constantly,
food. You know. Yeah. I know.
right?
Yes.
And so you think about that. That is as unbalanced as you can be. And
The thing that fucked me up the most with this whole thing is like, even when I thought I wasn't eating, I was eating. Like, you know, like sprinkling sugar into your tea at night, like, and you think that you're like not, you know, yeah, I haven't eaten since 6 o'clock. I'm just gonna have a couple cups of tea.
yeah,
Yeah,
your
but
body's
you know,
perspective of eating and your
right,
perspective definition is different. Your body perspective of eating is anything that provides the sugars or
sugar.
the
Like there's
like.
sugar in this glass of wine. I mean, there's definitely sugar in it. You know, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, basically anything that has nutrients or the macronutrients, like
right,
the carb, the fat, or the protein, any of those things, which in anything that we put on our mouth has some of those three combination in it.
mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about drinking wine, or we're talking about like taking a bite out of an apple, a banana, or a lot of pop, whatever, those are from the from the body perspective. That's eating. That's
Right.
consuming
Doesn't matter
fuel,
how
right?
healthy it is, right? It doesn't matter if it's the quote healthiest thing ever. Like an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but not when you eat an apple from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed at night. Like that's not good. Still, like you
Well,
know,
the thing is, you have to look at it from the perspective of, yeah, let's say, um, from the body's perspective, right? Imagine that you are the body. You think of eating good food as playing tennis. You're still doing some work, but you're
Mhm.
playing something that's fun, good food.
Right,
Or you can go and do QBR, right?
right.
Do QBR, which is really like
Coming up at the end of this month.
exhausting,
Yeah.
right? And so if you eat bad for something, it's both. You have to understand that you have to eat good food, and you have to leave some room for your body to rest. So it's
Right,
not just about eating the good food and constantly eating, just like playing tennis constantly. You love to play tennis,
right,
but you play constantly. Eventually, it's going to exhaust you out because your body needs some recovery time, and that is a crucial component of the whole the ecosystem, the formula of
yeah,
how your body can be I guess sustainable. So
right.
sustainability is
It's
one of those things that you want to prolong. So without
right.
the ability to have the crucial part of recovery, resting of recovery, you are not allowing that formula
Right.
to cycle through its ecosystem. So you basically disrupting its natural tendency. So looking at them from that perspective, it's good food, right? But also the ability to let your body rest is an important part of the important ingredient. And so
Mm.
when we look at the American diet today, it's like your body has never had even a second to rest.
No,
There's always
never.
food in your stomach.
Always. Like I think your tennis example is a great example because like when you're younger, you can play all day long. I mean, I used to be able to play
Hmm.
from I think my parents would drop me off at like our summer clinic at like I want to say it's like 10 a.m. or something, and like they would pick us up at like 4. Like and I never was tired. Like I mean, yeah, I mean I may have sweated a little bit or whatever, but if you asked me to go play more, I would have played more. I think we ate lunch in the middle of it or something along those lines. But for the most part, I mean, we were playing tennis for like 5 to 6 hours every single day,
Hmm.
like all day long. And like and I would go then play baseball afterwards and go to swim practice in the morning beforehand. Like I was never tired. Like you know what I mean? Like I was never like there was never even an inkling, of me going, oh, I can't do this today because like my body needs time to rest. But like as you're pointing out, like I watch Luca, like Luca fucking every 5 minutes, like something's going into his mouth, and they're usually garbage food. It's usually like he doesn't eat well, like but like he just consumes everything, that he wants to consume when he wants to consume it. He's chugging milk before he goes to bed. It's like he doesn't feel any negative ramifications of that yet. But like it's at a certain point in time, you're right, you hit this threshold. Tennis is such a good example. Like it wasn't until I was in my like probably late 20s, early 30s, where I was like, fuck, this hurts. Like I'm like sore after I like play like a hard match, and I'm like, damn, I gotta probably start stretching or something. And then it's like, damn, I gotta probably start like really training a little bit harder, like and running more, like making sure that I like move my body and train in different ways, because I need to like get more muscles in areas that I know are getting incredibly like sore and fatigued or something like that. And then it's like more now I'm like just totally fucking injured. I can barely swing a fucking racket right now. But like to your point, it only compounds worse and worse and worse. If I were trying to play as much as I played when I was a kid, like I probably wouldn't be able to do anything. Like I mean, I would probably be broken, at this point in time. I'm already feeling the ramifications of it, of trying to even go at a somewhat more balanced pace, myself right now. And I think that is such a good analogy, because you don't see it when you're young, you don't see it when you're, in your teens, and you're just, pounding food all fucking day long whenever you want to, or even when you're in your 20s and you're out at bars and you're chugging beers or whatever with your like you just don't see what you're doing to your body, and all the crap that you're putting into it, and how hard your body's working to process all this stuff, and eventually it breaks down. And I think like that was like you said, that was the biggest epiphany that I had in this book. And I was like, Jesus, like I've been pushing, I don't ever stop eating ever. And it's not like I said, it's not like I'm eating bad stuff, quote unquote, like in terms of like what the world thinks is a bad stuff or not. But I never stop. And like it was just a huge wake up call for me to go, like, okay, Ozempic. You ever heard of this whole like Ozempic shit that's going on now with like Hollywood and like all the stars and stuff like that taking that drug Ozempic?
No, I'm clueless about all the news media celebrities. I don't know who they are. I don't really care.
Okay, so this isn't about like, so do you know what Ozempic is?
I don't know. Probably some kind of drug.
It's a semaglutide. It's a Wegovy and Ozempic and Rybelsus are like the three main drugs, that
Hmm.
the brand names of these drugs. They were originally made for people with diabetes.
Diabetes, right? Okay.
Do you know what they do?
No, not a clue.
Take a guess what they do.
What the drugs do?
What do you think these drugs do?
They make you not hungry?
That's exactly what they do. They're an appetite suppressant drug, and so like these people that are diabetic, take Ozempic, and they
Hmm.
don't want to eat all day long, and then so they stop eating. Like and all of a sudden, like they start to lose weight, and a few months later, they're pre-diet. They're no longer diabetic. They're pre-diabetic, or their blood sugar levels are at normal levels, right? Well, celebrities and really rich people have caught on to this, and they're like, oh shit, like even if I just want to like lose, like people like me are taking Ozempic, where you think like, oh, I just want to lose a few pounds or something like that. All it does is make you stop fucking eating. It's like I had a friend of mine, her name's April, and she was like, hey, have you heard of this like Ozempic drug? And we were out having like a drink one night or whatever, and I go, no, what is it? She goes, I don't know, like all these celebrities are taking it, and they're like, getting like super skinny from it or something along those lines. And I go, I have a feeling I know what they're doing, because this was actually right after I'd done this fasting thing and I just read this book. And and I go and I while we were out having a drink, I like Googled it, read about this drug, and I was like, oh yeah, that's it. I was like, I'll save you right now, April, thousands of dollars for this drug, because it's like $1,000 a shot, for
What?
yeah, no, it's like, it's super expensive. That's why it's like rich and famous people are taking these like really, really expensive drugs that are
That's
supposed
one
to be
big scam.
it's a huge scam. And I was like, April, you know what? If you want to get Ozempic results, just stop eating. Like,
Yes.
intermittent fasting or something like that, and you will get Ozempic results. It blows my mind, but it's really fun to be able to see this stuff, how the rest of the world goes, oh, I can just take this drug and I'll lose weight, and my blood sugar goes down. It's like, no, just stop eating. That's what it was telling you to do in the first place. Is don't fucking eat all day long.
Right. I mean, the thing is, people are so, like I said, people, I guess, give up the ability to think for themselves because we are conditioned to look for answers and not come up with our answer ourselves. So
Right.
anything's on TV, and I don't know if these celebrities are doing it on purpose or they do it for money. Sometimes these company will get these celebrities to do it so that you get the social proof, so other people will buy it. And so for me, that's another propaganda base where you're trying to get. Why the celebrities taking them?
It's
Because they want.
their doctors are prescribing it to them in Beverly Hills and saying, oh, you need to lose 10 pounds for your next role. Like, here you go, take this Ozempic drug. Like, that's how this
But I think it's more propaganda than just that, because why do you start with the celebrities? Because celebrity is being watched by the masses, and celebrity, you're not gonna make any money from celebrity. Yeah, you can charge them a few $1,000s a shot. You can even make $1 million, but drug companies are making billions and trillions of dollars, and the money comes from the common folks.
Wait, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. Like, about Wegovy and Ozempic, they're not marketing it to celebrities, and they're not marketing the celebrities are taking this. As a matter of fact, like, it's the controversy is like there's a shortage for actual diabetic patients, and fucking doctors are prescribing this for like rich people just so they can lose 5 pounds. This is that's where the controversy is. Like, celebrities aren't endorsing this. Celebrities aren't out there saying I'm taking Ozempic. Like, this is like the what everybody knows what's going on, like in Hollywood and stuff like that right now.
But to me, it doesn't make sense. How can you be shortage of drugs? There's no such thing as a shortage, because it's not like you go out there and you find some fucking roots that you wait for years for it to grow, right? You just make them in fucking lab, and so you can make as many as you want. So storage is a bunch of BS concept to me.
So there's limited availability of the 2 milligram solution and blah blah.
That's what I'm saying. This is basically a propaganda.
I mean, it could be. I mean, yeah.
I mean, like I said, there's something I'm missing. How can you fucking have the ability to have storage of drugs? It's something you fucking made from chemicals. Okay? Right. So, like I say, it's not like you go out there. Let's say I want, some redwood tree, and have to wait for the redwood to grow 100 years before. There's limited supply. But for drugs concerned, like, you can produce any.
Just make it. Yeah.
Right?
Just manufacture it. Yeah.
That's what drugs are. I mean, like 99% of all the drugs come directly from the lab, where you don't need anything specific from nature that you have to wait for to grow, to harvest, or So, I mean, even marijuana, you have to grow, and there's no storage of marijuana. And so, even for that particular case, I just don't see how this is shortage, and it's limited supplies, and diabetic patients are not getting it, and blah blah. to me, it's a bunch of
That could be.
propaganda, right?
That could totally be. I mean, I don't know what's actually going on with like, Novo Nordisk or the other companies that are making similar drugs. But like my
Well, they
point
have
is
to limit
you
the
know
supply so that they can charge you $1,000 a shot. Because
right. Well,
if it's
they're charging
available,
insurance
then
companies $1,000 a shot. They're not charging. Celebrities are paying $1,000 a shot because they're getting it under the table, but like insurance is paying that for the regular diabetes patients.
right, because they know this or whatever, is still going to get the money regardless who pays. I mean, they're
Right.
gonna have to justify, hey, this is $1,000, and you give to this patient, and because you have to justify the companies to pay you, and the company that they insure you is gonna have to justify, hey, I have to raise your premium rates, blah blah. It's all about the limiting supply so that you can raise the rates and blah blah blah. So to me, it's a bunch of it's business, right?
It says, what is the Ozempic RX only $129 a month? That's not right. I don't. Wait. $892 per month is the cost for Ozempic.
But regardless, back to your topic at hand.
Right.
The point is in that we advocate this or the other. It's about who you are and who you are as a human person, right? Because your gene dictates how your body works. As long as you can think with its natural cycles, you're going to be better off. Because you're talking about the tennis example, right? Because the thing is, when you're younger, you have less technical debt, and because of less technical debt, you are able to recover faster. So regardless of whether you feel that you are tired, exhausted, you are basically taking on technical debt. If you understand what technical debt means,
Yep.
it's basically it's basically like you borrow some sort of, like, in terms of like compound effect. You're talking about like maybe money or interest, like APR. It compounds over the years. So for example, if your shoulder starts to hurt when you're 39, if you had played harder, like back when you're younger, right, then you had uh, than you would that you did, right, you would have had shoulder pain when you're 35 because the compounded
I did.
APR, right?
I
No,
did.
no, no.
I did,
Let's
yeah.
say whatever that you did
Right.
when you're 10 years old. Let's say
Right.
you do more than that. Your shoulder is gonna hurt before that because your APR, your compound interest, is gonna come due quicker.
For
So that
sure.
means
Yeah.
that means that without understanding how your body works, that's why I'm so like intrigued about the book While We Sleep, and I want to share with people because I think it's valuable information for people to
Yeah.
understand. There are so much benefits you
Agreed.
can you can you can have from just following the cycles of how your body works. Talking about like your memory, your even people who has like dementia, right? If you don't sleep, you're gonna more likely going to develop dementia because there are technical debt in your brain that you never had the ability to go and correct.
Right.
And because of that, it compounds and snowball out of control.
And you have
And then
Alzheimer's.
you have Alzheimer's. And so
Yeah.
same thing with your body. When you're talking about your digestive system, right? It takes on this technical debt as well because you're eating so much, right? It has to do something with it,
Right.
and it's going to get bruised over time, and more the bruise you have, it's going to take, like, your body keeps score. You're talking about the body keeps score. It knows, right, how much you have taken in and how much damage you've taken, and that not only that it adds up, it actually have to pay in interest. It's a compounding interest because you and I both understand the power of the compound effect, right? The H1 of the world, the compound interest, right? So not only that it kind of piles up over the years, but it's also you have to pay dividends to it. It's a negative
Right.
interest that you're paying,
It'll come due eventually,
and
like
it comes faster the more
right.
you damage. So if you understand about how your body is able to be able to recover, when you recover, you're actually paying back those
Right.
interests because you'll allow the bruises to heal. So therefore, you're by the time you're 40 or 50, right, you have less of a technical debt than you would have been if you continue to roll over every single second. I mean, compounding in a digestive system is every single second. So you
Right.
think about eating constantly, right? Your body has no other choice but to go exhausted and shut down. So you're talking about people who could become obese and diabetic is because your pancreas stops working. It can't work anymore. It just breaks
It's just
down.
needs time out, needs vacation, it's just give me.
I mean,
Yeah,
it is not even a vacation. It's basically like
I'm done.
it's
Yeah,
flat
I'm out.
line.
Yeah,
It's
right.
flat line. You can't even recover it. And so that's the point. It because at certain, you're talking about people who has diabetes type 2, which is like
Yeah,
your insulin resistance, right?
right.
And people have type 1 diabetes, right? The insulin is no longer being produced, so your pancreas completely shuts down its factory. It doesn't work anymore. So that's the thing is it's something that we don't notice until it starts to stop working because you see things working and you see, hey, I'm still have energy. I still can do things. I'm just a little bit tired. It's not noticeable. But the problem is without understanding the way our body works, you you took it for granted and you start to abuse it without knowing it. Because
Mhm.
you're talking about the American diet since 1970 until today, it's all about eating 3-4 meals a day, eating like 5-6 meals a day, eating snacks in between.
But bodybuilders like crack me up. Like whenever I see them, like they're like, I got to eat like 8 times a day, every 2 hours or whatever, and I'm like, man, you guys cannot be healthy. I don't care. Like, I mean, they're obese. Like, I mean, they are obese. Like, I mean, I don't care if you have massive muscles. You're fucking obese. Like, and I don't mean that like in a well, I could do that too, and I just don't want to be, no, I'm like, they're legitimately obese. Like The Rock is like obese. Like he's huge. He's a massive man. I can't even imagine carrying around that much on my frame every single day and having to eat that much. Can you imagine being an NFL lineman, or an offensive lineman, like and having to eat? I don't even know what do they eat, 10,000 calories a day to maintain their weight. Like yeah, they're big guys, but like they're not that big. Like as soon as you see it all the time, as soon as they stop playing professional football, they like drop down to like 220 pounds and they look like normal human beings, and you're like, what the fuck? You're like, what were you doing for the past 20 years of your life? Like, how much food did you eat every day to maintain that weight? Like I mean, I don't care how strong you are. Like, it is not healthy for
But
you. And
that's the
they
thing is, that's a technical debt they pay because
it
NFL
is.
players, you think they would be the healthiest person in the world and they would live the longest, but in reality, is they live the shortest,
Yeah, they die
right?
really early. Like they get concut, they get CTE, they get their bodies are fucking broken. They die of heart attacks. Like look at wrestlers. My God, like wrestlers, like I mean, they party real hard, but like still, like they. I mean, I
Right.
think like
Regardless, like I say, back to what I'm saying is regardless, everything has a technical debt and it's going to compound. And so without paying it back, like like say you pile on to credit card, but you don't pay them off monthly, right? You don't even pay even a slight amount monthly. It's
right,
going to compound to the point where you just can't pay them off at all. And so the thing is, if you have a healthy financial, um, I guess a healthy finance, right? You're talking about I'm gonna use my credit card, but I'm gonna pay them off every month. This is essentially equates to resting.
right.
When you eat something, you pay them back. You rest, right?
You
So
rest,
so
eat,
so
rest, eat,
so
rest, feast fast, feast fast, feast fast.
right.
It's like
And so
yeah,
so that to me that boils down to the word balance. So balance, talking about balance of the sleep, the mind, balance of the mind, balance of the digestive system, balance of our core values. Everything we do as human being, it centers on balance, and balance is a center. I mean, I don't know how else to say it because, and regardless of whatever it is, it doesn't matter because our gene dictates it, and because what you get is based on your genes, and your gene needs it. You're gonna have to follow this concept of balance, and balance is everywhere. It's a core tenet of our human
Of the
being,
universe. I mean, like, you
right?
can't, like,
And so for everything we do, regardless of whether it's something we do for work, something we do for fun, something we do for whatever, our body behaves the same way. The way we sleep behaves the same way. You can't sleep too much. You can't sleep too little. You have to sleep in a balanced fashion,
yeah, right, exactly,
right?
yeah.
And so, for example, you can't say, "Hey,
I'm gonna
okay,
catch up on all my sleep, like,
I'm yeah." You can't say I'm going to sleep 24/7 for the seven days. You can't do that, or you can't
no,
say I'm not gonna exert any energy for the next month. I'm gonna sit there and be a blob. Imagine doing that. You can't do that,
you
right?
can't do
You
it,
have to
yeah,
move. You have to move, right? And then you have to
right,
rest. You have to move to have rest. That is how the gene dictates it.
right,
I mean, it doesn't have to follow any kind of why, right? You don't have to answer the why. The point is, if your body has that gene dictates you to be in a certain state. That state is the balance.
right,
All existence relies on balance. You can't say, okay, I'm gonna run forever, or I can't say I'm gonna sit forever. We can't do that.
right,
We can't stay, because all life is in the transition. We are moving. All balance is it's moving, right?
yep,
It's constantly
it's
moving,
right,
and is the most ideal state for us as human beings. It different for a rock, right? Different for a tree. I mean, its center isn't moving, but
right,
our center is moving. So looking at the body itself, and not only that we don't know shit, we're doing the wrong thing, right? We can say, hey,
yep,
you
yep.
don't know shit, I don't know shit, right? So don't know shit is like
We take Ozempic is what
more, it's
like,
more of
it's
a
what we do.
neutral stance, but
Right,
from the perspective of all these things that we start to discover, it's not only we didn't know shit, we did the wrong shit. That
right,
means it's worse than doing no shit, right?
yeah,
Worse than
we
doing,
that's what I was
not
joking
worse
about.
than
We take Ozempic. We see Kim Kardashian lost 20 pounds and we take Ozempic, and then you realize, like, oh man, this Ozempic makes me feel like crap. So, like, I feel kind of nauseous. So I'm gonna take this drug to counteract the nausea. And then that drug makes you do something else. And you're like, well, I got to take this drug to counteract that drug, counteracting that drug. Then I got to take this other drug to counteract this drug, to
and then
counteract this
eventually
drug,
you're
to counteract
taking
this drug. Like, yeah,
20 drugs a
exactly.
day,
Yeah.
100
And you're
drugs a
like,
day, just because
because
it never
all you had to do was
balanced,
not eat.
right?
Like, yeah, right. All you had to do was just not eat. Like, I mean, it's not like all you had to do was
You
listen
can
to
keep stacking on the different drugs to balance out, or you just remove everything and you balance.
That's kind of the truth, honestly. I mean, it's really,
It's counterintuitive to
yeah,
what we're conditioned to, because thing is, like I told you, in our life, it's not about what you add to your life, it's about what you remove from your life.
yep,
For me personally, right, all the things I have, I need to start taking it away so that I can find myself, because all the stuff I have isn't me. The
right,
moment I start taking away the stuff, then I become more, in this euphoric feeling. Like you're talking about, like, hey, you have peace from mind. And your mind is not tugging at you. You say, hey,
right,
I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do, a
right,
bunch of stuff, right? It's not, I should go get a project here. Well, when you start taking in the stuff, you have to worry about it. You have to have anxiety. You have to think about what you need to do, blah, blah. But
yep,
when you start taking out the stuff, right, you feel more peaceful because there's nothing tugging on you,
right,
right? And so to me, it's counterintuitive to what we are taught, because if you start taking away the stuff from your life, the thing that's left that you cannot take away anymore is actually you. You think about it.
yeah,
We put on stuff for ourselves, right? And the thing that we can put on isn't us. The thing we cannot, basically the bare necessity for us, the thing we cannot take away is us. It's us naturally, and that aligns with the universe. That aligns with
right.
who we are from the gene expression, perspective. And I
I mean,
think that is counterintuitive to society, because society say, hey,
it's add more, add
you need to go
more,
to
add
school,
more. Yeah,
you
right,
need to get this degree, you get this, master degree, a bachelor degree, don't make money, get a master degree, don't make money, man, get a
right,
PhD, get another PhD, get 5 PhD,
right,
right? Because people say, hey, I can't make enough money, so I want to get more degrees. So instead of making more, doing like trying to study more and taking more stuff, reduce all that, so you have more time to focus on the thing that you do best. Maybe making soap, go fishing, do whatever. Go playing tennis. When playing tennis, when you're good at it, you're playing tennis, right? Then you can be a very, very good instructor, and you can make a boatload of money from this. So something we told you about in previous episode. We're talking about whatever you do. You could be like the deep sea diving, right? You talk about deep sea diving, right? I said you love to do it. You do it every day, right? Because you're so good at it that when some luck comes to somebody, your luck comes to you because you create something that no one can ignore. Because when somebody found a treasure map that their great parent leave them in the attic somewhere, right? They're not gonna go to some Joe Schmo deep sea diving to go find the treasure and say, hey, who is right? And so that's what I'm saying is when you do the thing that you love, right? It has so many wins, and that wins is essentially give you not only the presence of who you are, but not the clutter from the things that you're supposed to pile on. Because the moment you pile on,
it's natural.
You're distracted, and your percentage of focus is shifted, so you don't have enough time to focus on what you do. Just like we are today, we stuck in this rat race where we got to go find money to pay for bills. Well, so the thing we do isn't really aligning with that. We're not eating the cake all the time, right? And that's why I'm saying is because of that we have, like you and I, like we have and that's why it's what we do today is so much better than what I did like my past 30 years, because at least today you and I spend an hour a day to go and talk and discuss about things that make sense. Eating the cake, at least I'm eating the cake, right? Versus I'm eating a frog and I'm waiting till I'm fucking 99 and I can't even chew and I can't have no more teeth and trying to eat a cake then, right? I eat a fucking big cake then. So that's the thing is when you are pile onto things, then there is not enough room for you to do the things that aligns with who you are, your core value, your purpose, and etc. And so it's important to understand the natural tendency of a person. I mean, i.e. going back to understanding your purpose, your core values, because that is
what and we haven't said it in a while.
And be with my stand.
Okay, there you
go. I mean, I don't know. Are we beyond that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's we're not beyond it, because it's now just a baseline of like we all know what a beaver must dam means, like but it's fun to bring it back because not everybody's heard that. It's been a while since we said that, so figured we'd throw it out there. But no, I think you're totally right. I mean, it's all like these reflections, clubbing, all this stuff. It has a similar theme to it. It's about purpose. It's about balance. It's about figuring out like who you are and trying to do your best to keep learning more about yourself and to balance out that equation. Like, I mean, it's
about aligning. It's about aligning with who you are, right?
Right. Exactly.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you can't say, "Hey, I want to be this. I want to be that." It's not about what you want. It's about what you have to be. Because like I said, before, if you're a beaver, you can't really, hey, I want to be an eagle. I want to fly and soar in the sky like this eagle, right? Eagle is better than a trash panda or a beaver or a goat or whatever that your tendencies are. Because the thing is, if you love to play go get into trouble, you're not an eagle. Eagle don't do that, right? So your life is boring to you because your tendency is I want to get in trouble. I want to have out there, and I mean, ego is by himself all the time. So for you, Chris, there's no way you're an ego. There's no way you're an ego. 100%. I can bet you any amount of money you're not an ego because you love to get into trouble. You love to interact with people. You love the relationship.
I just like to do new shit and to do fun, to try new stuff.
Exactly.
Like, I love it.
That's what the characteristic of this animal is, and every one of us, you can extrapolate that to a human being, which is much more complex than just a beaver or a trash panda like a raccoon. But you can't run away from who you are you know, from the, I don't know, the core, the basic level of who you are as that entity, that animal, that species, whatever it is.
It'll catch up to you. I mean, no matter, like you said, like it's a matter. It's not a matter of when. It's a matter of, or sorry, it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. Like,
Yeah.
It'll catch up to you. Like, I mean, this is stuff that, like, there needs to be a human course, like in school. Like, you should learn about humanity. Like, I mean, like, I'm not joking. Like
Yeah.
we have social studies, we have history, geography, we have, obviously math and science and whatever, and languages, but like we never have a course on what it is to be a human, like learning about like humanity, like, I mean, well, I don't know why that is, like, but doesn't that sound fucking weird that we don't like learn about ourselves in school? Like, we learn about like random ideas and concepts that we came up with, like that's what we learn about. Like, but wouldn't it be better to just learn about ourselves first and go, oh, I get it, breathing's really important, like eating's really important, sleeping's really important, like, like this is really important, exercise is really important, like the chemicals in my brain, this is how it works, like, I mean, like I can imagine you could do that for 8 years with a kid in K through 8, or something like that, or I guess maybe start teaching them when they're in 6th grade through 12th grade or something, like whatever. My point is like
right, we study earth science, we study the solar, like the universe, like you don't fucking even see the anything beyond the sun and the moon, right? Why do you want? What I mean, for me, it when would the fuck would I go to Pluto or Uranus, right? You think about it,
but you eat every day.
But eat every day, but I don't learn about what I eat. I learn about some shitty rock that I don't.
Right.
I mean,
you sleep
I don't
every
even
day.
see it. I don't even see it, right? You think about it. I don't want to see fucking Pluto.
Right. Well, maybe you do, but like you don't want, you're not gonna see it every day. You see yourself every day, like.
But my point is, we look for something that is, that is not, doesn't matter.
Right.
We study earth science. We study like this rock formation. We study like all this. What for? With the basic stuff, you don't teach. Hey, eat the right food, right? Eat the real food that aligns with who you are. If you're a celiac, don't fucking eat gluten.
Right. Because what is that?
Why
should
gluten?
you eat like the omnivore's dilemma or something?
You're talking about sugar, right? Why do you need sugar? Why you shouldn't eat sugar, right? No one teaches you any of those things. What would you think when you?
You think a kid that's chugging 8 Mountain Dews a day, if they learned like how much this affects their body, like they would go, well, okay, maybe I won't do that. Like, I mean, it's not much different than like smoking cigarettes. Like, if you're like, oh, I didn't realize this was bad. Like, when you're young, you don't even think about it. Like, I mean, your friends are smoking at a frat party or whatever, and you're having drinks, and like, it's fine. It's like, have a cigarette. It's not a big deal. What is it gonna? It's not gonna kill you. It's not like, we all know it's not gonna kill you the first time you have a cigarette. Like, I mean, that's I don't think that's ever happened before. Like, I don't know that there's any recorded history of somebody that smoked. This is totally harmless, right? And then but we all know, like, what if I would have actually known what that was doing to my body? Would I have done that? Probably not.
Yeah, most kids. I mean, if you give them like cigarettes or beer, they don't like it. I mean, you look at a beer, right? It tastes bad. You look at cigarettes, it tastes bad.
The first time I smoked a cigarette, like, this is no joke.
It's awful.
Like, it was awful. I was like, my head was spinning, and I was laying on my I literally couldn't move for like 20 minutes. I was like, oh my God. I feel like I had to lay down and close my eyes, because I was like, this feels fucking horrible. Like, like, I mean, I was literally spinning. Like, and I felt like I was gonna vomit. Like, I was like, this is awful. The first time I ever took I by the way, I didn't do a lot of drugs or anything like that in my life. So, but like, I have taken experimented with a few things. Like, the first time I ever took like a Vicodin, thank God, like, that I like vomited, because I was like, oh my God, I feel awful. Like, I feel just horrible. Like, like taking this, like, and like, thank God, because like, there's a lot of people that are, opioid addicts and shit like that. I mean,
people are more tolerant of it, because, but then, like I told you before, like, sometimes you think your disadvantage, your weakness is actually your strength, because if you can't tolerate Vicodin, you're gonna throw up and you can spit it out. And if people have a strong stomach, right, and they can take it, well, they get addicted.
Exactly.
So the thing is never it's never always a completely something that is good or bad. It's based on, you know, the I guess the context of what it is that turns into a strength or a disadvantage. Because like I told you, I mean, from my childhood, I told you before, but from my childhood, look at me as a person. Hey, that guy's the dumbest kid I've seen. But to
Right.
me, that's a, you know, a weakness, but it's actually a strength because, you know, the thing that I would have learned is not what I want to learn anyway.
I mean, that's like we talked about it before in the past. Like whenever you see everybody doing one thing, like, you know, it's in your best interest to go the other way. My dad's calling me right now. It's really late, so let me. I think we
Yeah.
should probably wrap because whenever my parents call me this late at night, I'm always like worried. But it's usually
Yeah.
I'm sure my dad's gonna be like, hey, did you want to go like golf maybe like this weekend, you know, like that. But I'm like, why are you calling me at 10 o'clock at night to ask me that? But all right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. So the question we could leave for everybody is, what might you learn if you actively participate in activities aligned to your meaningful relationships? Meaning, like, listen to the people that you know that matter to you, and learn from them as well, because that's, you know, you are the top you are what is it? You are the collective of the five people you spend the most time with, or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the saying or whatever. And then how much you apply those lessons to your own purpose. You know, I learned a lot with learning about your feast and your fasting. And it's something I still think about regularly, and it's something I'm still applying to my life to find more balance, which is our shared purpose and goal of company. So I appreciate you sharing that, and thank you very much. And you know, keep exploring on yourself and telling me new things so I can go explore some more and figure out new shit
Right.
for myself too. So that's I appreciate it. Anyway, any final thoughts, or
Well,
you
that's the mission. That's the mission that we are trying to advocate in company is, you know, finding the values that is central to who you are. That is your center of balance.
agreed? Yep. Like it's important. It's what we're after here. So don't ever stop exploring, and keep learning, and keep growing, because it's a never ending quest. Thanks for joining, and we will see you guys tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. See ya.